Hang on, did you just put a blanket on?
Yeah.
It's not that cold. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to episode 47 of Monorail Memoirs. I don't know why I'm commenting how cold it is where you are. It's 5,000 miles away. But nevertheless, we are on episode 47, and today we're going to cover the worst attraction in every park. I'm sure everyone will agree fully, and there'll be no controversy. We'll move straight on. Before that, though, Lauren, how are you?
I'm feeling a bit nervous about this one, I'm not going to lie.
It's easy. It's easy because I'll be right, and we'll let you go first. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each park. We're going to do it in reverse order of when they were created. So we'll start with Animal Kingdom. We'll finish with Magic Kingdom. And the idea is we're going to discuss what we think is the worst attraction in every single park. Worth pointing out, we haven't collaborated beforehand. This could be completely surprising and genuine, and we don't even know. But with that said, Lauren, I'm going to let you go first. So Animal Kingdom. We're in Animal Kingdom. There's animals in the kingdom. And what are you avoiding because it's the worst attraction?
Carla River Rapids.
What? I honestly thought this was going to be the only one we were going to agree on.
No.
What? Why?
I just think that the story is so weak.
There's no story. Who cares?
Exactly. You get wet, and I'm not a fan of being wet. And it's over in like 2 minutes.
So to clarify, I'm going to give you an out here, and I want you to take this out. If Dinoland USA had still been there, would you have picked one of those rides instead?
Yes, of course I would.
Bingo. Cool. That's a bit better then. I can deal with that. But so you think out of all the ones that are left, and on my list I've got to write 12, you think the worst attraction is actually getting wet going on the River Rapids?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
I think that's an awful choice. It doesn't matter that there's not a story. It's just a good ride. And yeah, okay, you might get soaked on it, but that's part of it. That's part of the banter. It's good fun. No? Well, that's a weak answer. It's a very weak answer. Let us know in the comments how weak of an answer that is. It's actually I would probably put it in the top 4 attractions at Animal Kingdom.
No.
Well, you've got that. You've got Flight of Passage. You've got Kilimanjaro Safari, obviously, and then you've got Everest.
Yeah.
So top 4.
Yeah.
But you just said it's at the bottom.
No, I mean, I don't agree with that top 4.
No, well,
I know which one you've gone for, and it was very, very high up there.
Because mine, which is mine, Lauren?
Yours is the
Navi River Journey.
Navi River Journey.
Because it's awful. It's awful. Last week we talked about the best use of audio animatronics, and yes, it is the best animatronic in the parks. However, the attraction itself is awful. It is a non-stimulating boat ride that has no thrills, that has no story to it, and the only thing of interest is the animatronic at the end. The rest of it is genuinely awful. It's a combination of projections onto various physical features. There is some actual physical features of, waterfalls and stuff, but even some of that's projected. It is awful. I cannot emphasize enough how bad of an attraction it is. So I think undoubtedly Navi River Journey should be the worst in Animal Kingdom.
I do agree that it is very, very terrible. But for me, I wanted to put Carly in there. I knew that you were going to go for that. I wanted to put Carly in there because I don't feel like it gets enough heat because I just hate it.
Have you considered the average wait times in this conclusion? Because I would hypothesize the average wait time for a Navi River Journey is at least twice, if not 3 times, as long as Carly River Rapids.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So in that sense, in the cost benefit analysis, waiting 45 to an hour for Navi River Journey is a lot worse than waiting 10 or 15 minutes for Kilimanjaro Safari then.
Oh God.
10 or 15 minutes to ride Carly River Rapids.
Yeah, no, I take that point. I do take that point. I've got beef with it.
So you were wrong. Excellent news. Moving on then. So we're going in reverse order. We're now moving over to Hollywood Studios, formerly Disney's MGM Studios. Lauren, I will let you go first again because I'm that kind of a person. What is the worst attraction in Disney's Hollywood Studios?
So I did really struggle with this one because I've got pros and cons with quite a lot of the rides. In terms of, like, obviously they're not in contention for the worst, but I'm not a massive fan of like Star Wars and all that sort of stuff. So I was like, does that take into account? There is kind of alien swirling saucers that was a little bit of like, well, that is just a bit of a clunky, like fairground ride, doesn't feel very Disney. But then I actually turned my attention to the Indiana Jones stunt show. And I was like, do you know what? I can't remember the last time that I actually went to go and see that.
That doesn't mean it's bad. That just means that you don't have taste.
Missable. It's easily missable.
No, but it's not. I mean, that gets thousands of people a day.
Yeah, but for me, it's an easy miss.
But so if it's an easy miss, it's not the worst. Then I'm stunned at this. I think the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular is actually pretty decent. And when Disney got rid of Lights, Motors, Action, which used to be at Hollywood Studios, that was a great show. I was there actually at the time when coming out through the windows, he went too fast and they took the roof off the car by going, yeah, that was an interesting one. They just stopped the show and got everybody out. Everyone was fine. But so I think putting Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular at the bottom is misguided. It is misguided. I get you what you're saying. It doesn't, but then, for me, for example, the Beauty and the Beast show is not something that I'm going to go, but it's not something that I'm going to go and do. So I'm like, well, therefore it's the worst. Silly. You already said mine though, actually. It's Alien Swirling Saucer.
I thought you would.
Again, the part for me is a cost-benefit analysis. Those ride times are regularly up and around the hour mark. Yes, it is a children's ride, and I think out of all the 4 parks, Hollywood Studios is the one that struggles most for child-friendly attractions. Yeah. That I agree with. To me, though, from Alien Swirling Saucer, you and this happened. I don't know if you remember. This happened. You and your family went on it. I went to Baseline Tap House and had 2 beers, and then when you came off, we were at the same point.
Yeah.
I would much rather spend my time consuming 2 adult alcoholic beverages than doing Alien Swirling Saucer.
See, I completely disagree. I think it is such a cute little ride. When you're on it I come at it from a different perspective. My children absolutely love that ride, and I love seeing the joy that it brings to them on that ride. They're like, whee! Like, to them, it's a massive roller coaster. They're only tiny. And they're just absolutely loving it. It makes your tummy go a little bit funny sometimes. It throws you to the side. It is a little bit thrilling, but not too crazy. And especially when you do it at night, all the lights, it's kind of like a bit of a disco. I just love it. I think it's really cute.
Have they done the Barnstormer yet?
No,
they were too small for that.
They were too small, but the next time we go, they're not going to be too small.
Nah, well, the next time that you go with them, because you're coming with us to do Springtime Surprise. Banter.
When I tell people that I am going without children, they're like, "You're going to Disney without your children?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, and questions. I'm gonna get more done. As Hollywood Studios, you know what? I still think you're wrong with Indiana Jones, but I'm very happy with my choice because, of course, I came up with it. We now move on to the best park, EPCOT, where it's really hard, I think, to find a worst attraction because they're all very good. They're all very good. I can't think of a single poor attraction in EPCOT. So, with that said, Lauren, which is your least favourite of all of the good attractions that exist in EPCOT?
So for me, it is what was the Canada ride. I can't remember what it's
called. Canada Far and Wide.
Yeah, that's a miss for me.
Why?
I just find it so boring.
Have you been to Canada?
No.
I have. Canada's lovely. Canada is
far and wide.
No, I haven't. I've been to British Columbia. It was lovely. Huge fan. I didn't. We went to Victoria. I would move there. That's how nice it is. It's fun. It's lovely. Okay. Are you saying you think it's the worst because it's no longer Canada and therefore it's downgraded, or you just don't like Circle Vision standing shows?
Circle vision standing shows are already at a very low point for me. China is slightly above it. I do like the China one a little bit more. I don't know why. I can't tell you. It's just the vibes.
The vibes. Okay.
Yeah, the vibes. Yeah, I do think it is a knockdown from All Canada as well. You know, it's not as funny. You know, and I don't know. It just doesn't spark any interest in me.
Okay, I get that. I do. I think it's a step down from All Canada, and any time that a ride or attraction retrogrades in quality, it is questionable. However, I think it is well done. I think it's nice and indoors and air conditioned, and I think there's a lot to be said for that. Really, no, there is a lot to be said for that. There is.
Stand in a shop.
If
you want aircon, stand in the shop.
Yeah, fair enough. I confess, I narrowed mine down to 4 because there's so many good attractions. I narrowed mine down to 4. That was one of the 4. The one that I've settled on, though, the worst attraction is the Seas with Nemo and Friends. But I'm excluding, listen to me, I'm excluding Turtles Talk with Crush because that's a separate attraction. And I'm excluding, because you can just walk in through the side door. I'm excluding the aquarium. I'm talking purely about the actual ride bit, which is old. No, it is old. It is. I don't know why I said no. It's over 20 years old. It's old. I think all it is useful for is a sit down in a nice air conditioned location where I can close my eyes for 5 minutes. I think the Seas with Nemo and Friends is probably, in my view, due for an update.
I do agree it's due for an update. However, I just think it has its charm, that ride. I love it. I just think it's really cute. Again, the children love it. So I come at it from a completely different point of view to you.
Yeah, possibly so. Possibly so. When I considered the alternatives, one of which was Canada Far and Wide, another one was the Reflections of China. It was. The other one, which was a difficult one for me, though, it was the Awesome Planet show that's in the land. That's used to be the Lion King one, the sit-down theatre. But that's not worst. That's not bad. You don't do it. I mean, you only do it once every few years at most, and it's 15 minutes sit down in front of a big screen, sort of a nature documentary. I don't actually mind that. So I've gone for the Siege with Nemo and Friends, but I accept that's probably my most controversial opinion.
Yeah, I completely disagree with that on all levels. Wow. It's a big blue world. Do you not love that song? I love that song.
It's okay. We move through to the final round at the Magic Kingdom. Lauren, what is the worst attraction in the Magic Kingdom?
So I can't tell you how much I struggled with this, because I was looking through all the lands and I was like, well, I really like that one, and I really quite like that one, and that one's not too bad, you know. And just kind of going through them, and I was just like, I genuinely can't think of something that I really, really, really dislike to the point where I think it's a worst. Like trying to quantify something as a worst it was really quite difficult for me. So I was looking at pros and cons in terms of like length of time that you wait for them, the length of the ride, all that sort of stuff. So Barnstormer came into my mind because it's about a 30-second ride. And so for the time that you wait for it,
no, but that's a kid's first roller coaster. That's a kid's first roller coaster. Is that your answer, Barnstormer?
No.
Goodness for that.
So I considered that because of the shortness of the ride, and it's just a bit lackluster. But I take your point that it is obviously like a child's first ride, if you will. And then obviously I went round to Adventureland.
Okay.
And I landed at the Tiki Room.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the one.
You know what? That wasn't even on my radar, despite that wasn't even on my radar, but you're right. That's possibly the worst attraction. The only thing I'll say it's got going for it is there's never a wait.
Yeah.
So you're straight into the air conditioning, but 15 minutes of in the dicky
room. No, thank you.
You know what? I'll buy that. I will, and I'll explain the thinking behind mine. I've actually got 2 answers here. but I explain why. This is actually listed as an attraction, although I don't think it's an attraction. My worst attraction in Magic Kingdom is the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse. It's just a treehouse.
Yeah, I didn't consider that one.
But it is listed as an attraction.
Yeah.
And it's just a walkthrough of a treehouse for a story that was done in the 50s or 60s and that nobody cares about. In fact, I think it was earlier than that, actually. Could have been pre-Second World War. So, no interest. But as I re-caged and I thought, okay, actual attractions here. I know it's listed with actual attractions. I weighed up the amount of time that the average queue length is, and also the amount of time the ride is, and also what you get out of the ride. And my answer for the worst attraction is the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
No!
Why not?
Oh, I actually really like that ride.
Why?
Because when you bounce in the honey pot like Tigger, it's dead cute.
Uh-huh.
And the queue is ace. The queue is so good. You've got things to do in the queue. There's the honey thing that you can like spread around.
But it's also like usually nearly an hour.
Yeah, it is sometimes quite a long way.
And I don't think it's worth it. I'll be really honest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably not worth it. But I don't think it's the worst by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay. I mean, I think you're wrong, but okay. If you've mentioned your 4, I've mentioned my 4. If you were to try and pin one as the worst attraction in Walt Disney World, what would it be?
I would say the Tiki Room.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I'm a little bit surprised, only because it is a classic attraction. I don't have to like it, but it is a classic attraction.
Yeah, but I don't like it. So therefore, worst.
No, that is a fair assessment. I think if I was to give you the worst attraction, it would be Navi River Journey, and it wouldn't actually be close. Wow. Queue's way too long. There's no story. The actual ride itself is boring. There's just an animatronic at the end. I would pay to not do that ride. That's how bad it is. I would rather spend that hour just sitting down, not doing anything than.
It's quite relaxing.
No, it's awful. It's genuinely that bad. But please let us know what you think. What is the worst attraction in every park? How bad is Navi River Journey, and why is it much worse than any of Lauren's suggestions? Thank you very much for attending. As always, we will be back next week with another episode. And until then, please stand clear of the doors. Bye, everybody.
Bye.